Welcome to the MS&Me Radio Network, a division of the Multiple Sclerosis Global Support Network. The following program broadcast is an original creation by the broadcast entity. Discussion within the following broadcast should be used for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice or consultation. Before considering application of any broadcast content in the following program, please consult your healthcare provider. If you feel you are having a medical emergency, please contact your local health services for immediate assistance. MS&Me Media and the Multiple Sclerosis Global Support Network do not guarantee or warrant the accuracy of information in the broadcast to follow. The Multiple Sclerosis Global Support Network provisions broadcast services to program hosts. Information discussed in the broadcast does not necessarily reflect the views, opinions, or goals of the network and are solely those of the show broadcast host. Should you wish to host a broadcast, please visit our website at msmemedia.com and submit a request to become a program host. We thank you for listening to the MS&Me Radio Network. Enjoy the show.
Hey y'all, you're listening to Straight Up with MS and all its crazy little circles on MS&Me Radio, brought to you by the MS Global Support Network. My tongue's getting tangled here today. I'm your host, Patty Long at MS and It for Life, which is, what we're doing here. We're MSing it. And we have to do our best every single solitary day. And last week, I was talking to you about depression. And I told y'all about the beginning of my descent into depression. And I was thrown there basically because I had no support system. I had no friends or family that wanted to hear anything or help me learn anything. I couldn't look things up on the computer. I couldn't see well, and I had even more trouble understanding something that I read or heard. And I had trouble speaking. And I had trouble lifting my legs, so a lot of times my feet would stomp. And I wasn't stomping, but my legs were heavy, and so my feet that I couldn't feel would hit the ground really hard, and it would sound like I was stomping, and I was accused of being mad. Or I wasn't talking very well, and so I was spitting out my words, and I was accused of being mad. So even when I wasn't angry, I was being accused of being angry. And if I wasn't sad, it was as if the people in my life just wanted me to be sad. So, I remember trying to give someone a hug. And my arms just fell to my side. And so they dropped their arms to the side, kind of making fun of me. But it hurt my feelings really bad. And, it's one of the strongest memories I have of the early days is this person dropping their arms because mine fell. And so I'm well over a year into this mess that we call MS. And I'm going to a therapist. And I'm trying my best to climb back out of this deep, dark hole. And I remember writing in my journal that everybody in my life, everybody I had known and had loved, that all these people would just throw one heck of a party if I died. And they'd celebrate my husband's freedom from me. And they would celebrate that I was dead. They would be happy about it. And I wasn't suicidal. But I did wish and want for all of it to be over with. And, my pond kept getting thrown out of whack, being stepped on and crushed and kicked and battered. My heart sculpture got ruined. My, things of mine were getting broken. And I was in a really bad place when I wrote this. But I was not suicidal. I just wanted to die. And there's a difference there because, and there really is, but it's kind of hard to explain the difference. But if you've been there, then you know it. And the expression, it takes one to know one, is definitely true when it comes to depression. Not just when it comes to MS, but with depression too. And, I really did want it to be over. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. Every day, day in, day out, I was so sick and just getting sicker. Attack after attack after attack. Acute attacks, 3 or more limbs, plus at least one cognitive skill, and bam, 5 steps backwards to every 1 step forwards is what my doctor said. Now, I didn't accept that, and I refused to accept that. I didn't think that my fate was written in stone. But that did seem to be the way it was going, and I just kept sinking further and further. And, but I started learning to walk away. And this was a huge step for me. A huge step. And so I would say, I'm sorry that you feel that way. And I'd walk off. Or it is what it is, and it can't be anything else. And I'd walk away. Or I hate it. And walk away. And that helped some. And it helped me to realize that it was actually a choice. A choice. I was given a choice of how to react. I got to choose how I reacted when somebody said something ugly to me. And I got them all. I had these amazing friends. Yes, I'm saying that sarcastically. Who would give me a little push to see if I would fall over. Or would talk crap about me and bash me about my hair not being brushed well, or and I had no arms, so I didn't brush my hair, but and I still don't really brush my hair, but I was bashed about my hair. I was bashed about my nails and how I needed a manicure. I was bashed over everything and anything. And I started to think that all these people wanted was for me to be even sadder. And then one evening, my husband had taken me to dinner. And we were on our way back from dinner. And he decided that we decided, I thought that maybe I was up to it. I hadn't seen these people in months and months and months and months and months. But somehow he managed to convince me that it would be fine, that all would be fine. And we got to their house, and we were on a bike, and we got off the bike, and everybody in the crowd was looking. And my best friends started hollering, "Look, look, it's Pookie. Pookie's here. Pookie, it's Pookie." Now that is what they called my husband. They haven't seen me in months. Ha! Sir Lancelot, I love you. That was him beeping in. But I call him Sir Lancelot. But in any case, you know, they're hollering, look, about my husband. There's Sir Lancelot again. It's actually Lancelot's Pram on Twitter, and he's an awesome guy. And he's not from around here. He's in Australia. So that's really cool too, that you get to meet people all over the world when you're on Twitter. But back to my story. He had convinced me to go by there. And so we went by there. And I had said it would be okay. But, well, actually, it wasn't all that okay. Because they were hollering, hey to him, look who's here, look who's here. And this is a person they'd seen, fairly recent. And they hadn't seen me in forever. And nobody was hollering, look, Patty's here. Look, there she is. She came. I'm so glad to see you. I didn't hear any of that. So I got off the bike, and he went running off to his friends. And me stumbling along like a zombie that I was. And I just hid behind a building where I nearly froze, but I hid behind a building and just cried and cried and cried and cried and cried some more. And you know what? Not a soul came looking for me. It was as if I wasn't even there. And that was the last time I went there. The last time. When I finally got my act together and got up, I went to find where my husband was to tell him I wanted to go home. And the girls who started the whole thing when I first arrived, hollering, look, there's Pookie, and all about Pookie. One of them came up to me and said hello. And I just didn't have anything to say. I waited on Chris to finish his game of horseshoes that he was playing and told him I wanted to go home. I'm sure there was an argument after that because, there always was. But I didn't need to be there. And on that day, I realized that I also didn't need people like this in my life. And I had known these people for 15 years or more. And I had loved them. And I would never have treated any one of them badly. I was always there for them. When somebody needed help with something, they called me and I helped them. I did paperwork for them that they didn't understand. Or would come and give them a ride. Or just go and sit with them because they didn't have anything to do and they were bored and they couldn't go anywhere. They didn't have a vehicle. And so I'd sit with them for a while. But yet, none of them gave me that kind of compassion. None of them came and sat with me at all, ever. It was always tomorrow. Well, I'll come see you tomorrow. And that was only if I called. And frankly, I don't know why I hung on to the hope that these people would get their act together and realize I was still the same person. I didn't understand what was happening to me, but I was still the same person. But they hadn't. And we're going on 2 years of this crap. So I finally, learned that they weren't going to ever change. they were never going to be friends. And they were never going to love me the way that I had loved them. Their love was very conditional. It was all about being able to have a good time or being able to do for them. And that's not what real friendship is. So I guess I never really had any friends to start with, even though I was a friend to them. So I realized that hanging on to them was like sipping on a cup of antifreeze and drinking that antifreeze every day and poisoning myself a little more and a little more and a little more every day. So I tell my husband if he keeps going over there, then he's going to find his stuff in their yards. And since I wouldn't know whose house he was at, I'd scatter it. It'd be in some at one place and some at another. I wasn't going to have it. And he was part of the problem. And if you're not a part of the solution, you're part of the problem. It's that simple. Now, he knew that I meant business. He knew that I wasn't bluffing. He knew that I didn't tell him any lies. So he quit going. And he stayed home for a couple of weeks, but he wouldn't come near me. He didn't want to learn anything. He didn't want to look at me. He hated the sound of my voice. So, him being there wasn't really all that helpful, but at least he wasn't out there spreading lies, and I felt better that he was not amongst these people anymore, because they weren't our friends. If they weren't my friend, they're certainly not his either. So he found a new place to go and new friends, and I'm still stuck at home. And I couldn't really get rid of him. I needed him, and I still need him. And I do love the man. Whether he really truly loves me back or not, I do love the man. I always have. But sometimes love just isn't enough. And you have to get rid of the people that are poisonous. He's doing a lot better, thankfully. But I'm also doing a lot better. And when I get worse, well, things get escalated around here and they go really south fast. So he's still not there for me in any sort of way, emotionally or with my health wise. He's just really not. I'm kind of on my own still. And sometimes it makes me sad to be on my own. But I've got my dog, Hachi, who makes me very happy. And I also have my fish, which I've got 3 fish tanks. And I love watching my fish. They're very calming. And then music. Music is huge. I like to listen to happy songs and upbeat, fast tempos, happy songs. If something sappy comes on the radio or on Pandora that I listen to, then I'm going to hit next or flip the station, because I'm not listening to anything sappy or sad. I'm not watching sad movies. I'll watch exciting shows and I'll watch funny shows, but nothing sad, nothing sappy. I don't need the sadness. I need something to bring me up and lift me up. If you're going to push me down, I don't need it. So music is key, and listening to the beautiful sounds of nature around me, that's really calming and helpful. And I've got my fish tank, which is calming and helpful. So I'm listening to music, and I'm hiding out in my fish room most of the time, or I'm outside, one of the two. And I don't know why I hung on to all these people for so long, because it was the best thing that I could do for myself. And it was hard to do it. It was hard to let go of those people. It was really hard. And I think that's when I started calling my life prior to my diagnosis as being my past life, because it was so very much different from the reality of what I was living. It was 100 degrees. Well, I don't guess 100 degrees, because that would put me full circle. 90 degrees, complete flip-flop from how I'd been. And that person was still inside of me, even though I couldn't do those things anymore. And so I had to work really hard. First, be fine with who I am by myself. All by myself. I didn't need anybody else to cheer me on. I didn't need anybody else to be glad that I could open my drink bottle. I didn't need anybody else to be happy that I made it to the bathroom in time. I could be happy all by myself. It was a choice. It's a choice. Everything about this is a choice. You can choose how you react to the ugliness, and you can choose to walk away, roll away, however you go, crawl away. I've done that before. You can choose not to associate with people who bring you down in any way, and you can choose to start each day brand new. That's a choice too, and it's one that I do make every day. Yesterday is the past. There is not a thing you can do about it. It's done. It's over with. Tomorrow is the future, and it's not here yet, and nobody has a crystal ball. The only day that matters is today, right now, right this very minute. And right this minute, I choose to try to be happy. And when I do that, I start out by smiling. And since I'm home alone, like usual, I just smile. I'm not smiling at anybody or for any particular reason. I just smile, and smile big, real big. And it kind of helps, as the more you smile, the better you feel. Now, it's hard to smile when you feel really crappy. It's hard to put that smile on your face. So find a way to put it on your face. Look at the mirror. Make funny faces at yourself. Watch a funny video. There's lots of things to find joy in if you look. It's just that it's hard to find them sometimes. And each of us find our own joys in different types of things. I can find my joy by seeing a praying mantis hunting, or maybe by watching my fish swim, or by seeing my dog act all silly. There are many things that can make me smile if I just keep looking. So these are things that are choices, and realizing that was a great way to defeat this monster. But it still takes more. It takes a lot more. And exercise is key as well, because there's some sort of endorphin that gets released when we are exercising. So when it gets released, then we start to feel better. And the exercise helps us to sleep more deeply. And getting that deep sleep is what we need to help with the exhaustion. So, if we help with the deep sleep and we help with the exhaustion, that will in turn help the depression. So, exercising is awesome. And again, I love my pedals. Pedaling is great. It's good for your gait. It trains your hips and your knees, your feet and ankles. It trains your whole legs to work the way they're supposed to as a team for you to walk correctly. And so I got these free pedals. I set the tension to 0 and I watch my knees go up and down and up and down. And I make sure they go straight, because if they're wobbly, then I'm not helping my walk. I'll have a wobbly walk. So I stop and rest if they get wobbly, and then I start again, and I let my knees go up and down and up and down. And that itself is very soothing in a way that I've gotten started with. So there's lots of different types of exercises that speak to different people, and to their abilities. Pedaling for me took me from not being able to walk to being able to walk. And it wasn't just the pedals. I do lots of other exercises as well. And I do want to talk to y'all about exercise at some point, because but I think that form is very important. So I think maybe I want to do that with videos, and I haven't gotten a way to make videos just yet, but I'm working on it. I'm working on it. I'll have it. I'll be there. But every day, back to depression, I have to get up and choose not to be depressed. I have to choose not to look backwards at what I could do before, or who my friends were before, or what my life was like before, even when I'm talking about last week, or even if I'm talking about last month, or even if I'm talking about yesterday. All of that stuff is in the past, and I got to leave it there. I've got to leave it in the past and start each day fresh, making those choices to be happy, to say smart things in responses, and to walk away. And those were the biggest factors. And have a purpose. Find a purpose. I'm going to leave you with that because my time is nearly up. And before I go, I just want to say thank you guys for listening, because without y'all, I wouldn't be here. And I hope that, I'm helping you to learn a little bit on how to change your perspective on things, and how to change how you react to the ugliness, because that's where the power is when you learn how to change how you react. And then it really doesn't matter. Instead of just saying, it doesn't matter, I don't care, it really truly doesn't matter, and you really truly don't care anymore. And that's where I am now. I still get sad, but not like I was. I never fall in that deep, dark hole anymore. So thanks again for listening. And thank you, Erica Lyons Richardson, for, coming up with this whole idea and starting the MS Global Support Network. And I will see you guys next week. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.